The unforgiving desert sun beat down on Coyote as he sauntered across the parched landscape. A plume of dust followed him like a loyal shadow, a fitting companion for the notorious trickster. He crested a dune and stumbled upon a scene straight out of a mirage, a circle of men huddled around a fire, their faces etched with anticipation. One man, his beard flecked with grey, spoke up. His voice, gravelly from decades spent under the relentless sun, carried a hint of awe. "Coyote," he rasped, "they say you're the weaver of the grandest lies this side of the Rio Grande. Lies so intricate, so believable, that even the wise old owl gets caught in your webs." Coyote, ever the performer, flashed a disarming grin. "Rumors have a way of growing wings," he drawled, his voice smooth as desert sand. The men leaned forward, a collective eagerness crackling in the air. "But how? Coyote, how do you spin such tales? How do you bend the truth until it shines brighter than a full moon?" Coyote feigned a thoughtful pose, stroking his chin with a claw that gleamed wickedly in the sunlight. "My friends," he began, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, "the art of the perfect lie comes at a great cost. A price steeper than a mountain peak and colder than a desert night." Intrigued, the men exchanged glances, their eyes wide with a thirst for knowledge. "What kind of price?" a young man blurted out, his voice barely a squeak. A dramatic pause hung in the air, broken only by the low crackle of the fire. A hoarse Coyote finally declared, his voice heavy with a feigned sadness. "My finest buffalo runner, a creature that could weave through a herd like a shadow, leaving me with a bounty of meat with every hunt." One of the men, a burly fellow with a thick handlebar moustache, puffed out his chest. "Like this beauty," he said, leading out a magnificent horse, its coat the color of polished mahogany. The animal snorted, its muscles rippling beneath its sleek skin. Coyote ambled around the horse, his eyes gleaming with a cunning light. "Indeed," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, "a steed worthy of a king. This is the very creature that fueled my ability to spin tales that would make the saguaro cactus weep." The men, their desire to unlock the secrets of lying now burning with an almost sacred intensity, begged, "Teach us, Coyote. Teach us how to weave such magnificent fabrications." Coyote, a master of theatrics, pretended to ponder their pleas. "Very well," he finally conceded, a sly smile playing on his lips. "But first, let me test the spirit of this magnificent beast. If it remains unruffled by my touch, then perhaps I can share a sliver of my wisdom." The men, confident in their well-trained buffalo runner, readily agreed. After all, these powerful horses were renowned for their steady temperament. Coyote, with a flourish that would make a traveling magician proud, swung himself onto the horse's back. But beneath his relaxed demeanor, a dangerous glint flickered in his eyes. With a swift, almost imperceptible movement, he dug his sharp claws into the horse's back. The unsuspecting animal, startled by the unexpected pain, erupted in a frenzy. Its powerful legs kicked out in all directions, the earth trembling under its hooves. Before the men could react, Coyote, with the agility of a desert fox, launched himself off the bucking beast, landing gracefully on his feet a safe distance away. Dust settled, the horses' whinnies echoing through the desolate landscape. The men, faces contorted in a mixture of shock and disbelief, stared at Coyote, who dusted himself off with an exaggerated nonchalance. "Hashem," Coyote mused, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "Seems this fine steed requires comfort. Perhaps a soft, luxurious blanket would soothe its restless spirit." The men, eager to appease the trickster and finally learn the secrets of lying, readily provided a thick, hand-woven blanket. Coyote, ever the charade artist, repeated his trick. Claws dug in, horse bucked, Coyote flew off the scene unfolding like a cruel, preordained ballet. "Ah," he exclaimed, feigning surprise, "a saddle perhaps. A saddle fit for a king, to calm this wild spirit." Blinded by their thirst for knowledge, the men readily complied, stripping their prized horse of its most expensive equipment. Each time, Coyote used his cunning to provoke the animal, each dismount more spectacular than the last, leaving the men increasingly bewildered and frustrated. Finally, With the men thoroughly flustered and their patience hanging by a thread, Coyote mounted the horse one last time. He rode out of earshot, a sly grin splitting his face. He reined in the horse, the stolen animal snorting in confusion. The men, a ragged group panting from a mixture of anger and exertion, watched with narrowed eyes. "All right, Coyote," the grey-bearded man growled, his voice hoarse with barely suppressed rage. "Enough games. We've indulged your little performance. Now tell us, what is the secret to your lies?" Coyote chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that sent shivers down the men's spines. "The secret, my friends," he boomed, his voice carrying across the desert, "is not in the grand pronouncements or elaborate stories. It's in the subtle touches, the things you don't see coming." He gestured towards the men, their faces etched with confusion. "You saw a magnificent horse." He continued, his voice laced with amusement, and offered it readily. "You saw a harmless dismount and provided more comfort, more finery, each time, blinded by your desire for a secret that doesn't exist." The men's faces contorted in dawning realization. They had been tricked, not by fantastical tales but by their own avarice and impatience. Coyote, the master manipulator, had played them like a well-worn instrument. "The greatest lie," Coyote declared, his voice ringing with a chilling truth, "is often the one that reveals a truth we'd rather not see: our own gullibility, our own greed." With a final, earth-shaking laugh that echoed across the vast emptiness, Coyote spurred the stolen horse forward. He disappeared into the shimmering heat haze, leaving the men alone with their humiliation and a newfound respect for the power of a well-timed, well-played truth.